Hey guys, welcome back to another edition of Bushes on the Trail. I'm Alan. This time Christy and I are taking on the Carter Caves Cross Country Trail, otherwise known as the 4C Trail at Carter Cave State Park in Olive Hill, Kentucky. It's in the northeastern section of Kentucky, and this is a fantastic trail. We love this trail. It's one of the tougher ones in the area, one of the more challenging ones, I guess you could say. There's some strenuous portions, some steep inclines, and some fantastic things to see everywhere you go on this trail. Almost every time you turn around, there's something new to see. We go through caves, we see natural bridge arches, we go on some suspension bridges, over some water. You will actually see a lake. We actually hike up the side of a small cascading waterfall. And when we're done, Christy and I go to a local place. It is called the Armory Smokehouse, and we have some really tasty wings and our favorite beverages to rehydrate. I hope you stick around. Hey guys, we are here at Carter Caves State Park in Carter County, Kentucky, and doing the Carter Caves Cross Country Trail. It's about 38 degrees. It's a little cold, so yeah, we are layered up pretty good, but it should be a pretty good hike. And we follow the orange blaze. To the left. Here we are at the intersection of Horn Hollow Trail and the 4Cs Trail. Now, as the 4Cs Trail sign says, it is a 7.2 mile loop. That may be a little short. It is actually longer than that. It does pass through remote backcountry over hilly, rough terrain and is recommended for experienced hikers. That is pretty much true. It is a more difficult trail, strenuous in parts. There's a lot of technical areas for your footing, but it's still a great place to go if you want to have a challenging hike in northeast Kentucky. A lot of leaves on the trail, some wet rocks, but very peaceful so far. And I'm sure along the way we're going to hit a lot of spider webs pretty early in the morning out here. Well, this early portion of the trail has a few rocks and stones and everything that you have to sort of watch your footing and maneuver around, but other than a real quick climb there at the beginning, not too bad. And it looks like they've done some maintenance here on the trail. A little tiny den, some sort of animal. This is one of our favorite trails here in northeast Kentucky. It's a little tougher than several others throughout the area that we have hiked, but a little more challenging and beautiful scenery in the forest. There will be a section coming up that's not as good. You will be going along a horse trail, but we'll show you some pictures of that coming up. That's really the only bad portion of this entire trail, and we're looking, you know, over 7 miles. I think it's closer to 8. Once we're done, we'll see what the tally is on the watch and hiking apps once we get done. But again, if you really want a really nice hike, checking out this trail, the Four Seas Trail at Carter Cave State Park in Olive Hill, Kentucky. Fantastic trail to try to tackle. Okay, here we are about 8/10 of a mile in. The Kentucky State Nature Preserve is ahead, foot traffic only, and the trail goes uphill. This trail is blazed very well from what I can recollect from our last time out here, and so far there have been plenty of orange blazes along the trees. I mean, there's going to be about 3 or 4 just going up this steep hill. At the top we should be at about a mile, so probably roughly 2/10 of a mile uphill, and then we will continue on. Okay, we are already about only 1.25 miles in, and we are starting to shed our layers. As you can see, Christy, this puffy, is gone. We've shed our gloves, we've shed our gaiters. I've opened up my thin jacket, and it's still probably only 40 degrees, but just to give you an idea how much up and down there is. Heart rate gets up to about 150 beats a minute pretty quick at times, so it doesn't take long to get the blood pumping and warmed up out here. Okay, and now we are about 1.4 miles in. You get to an open area. Looks like some ATV traffic has come through here, although it says no ATVs. I'm going to assume forest rangers use this. Still orange blaze time. This is really probably one of the easier parts of the trail. Sun's starting to come out a little more, so pretty soon we will be shedding some more jackets. Okay, and here we come up after some nice pine needles to walk through, soft. We are coming up onto the Kaiser Hollow trail, which is, I believe, a horse trail, part of a horse trail, and Four Seas goes this way. We catch up with the horse trail here pretty soon, and horse trails you have to watch out for, well, dirty bombs, so just be careful when you go up through this area. And this is one of the reasons why sharing a trail with horses is not the best option. The trail in this portion is really torn up. You have to try to figure out which way is the least torn up, and sometimes you have to make your own blaze between the piles of horse crap and all of the hoof prints and mud. So just be leery of this when you come out. And again, it's a little rough through here just because of all of the damage due to horses. And if you're wondering about what mile marker you hit this, roughly 1.5 miles in is when you start to encounter this portion of the trail. And I think it lasts almost a mile. All right, we're almost 2 miles in, and we come to a section here. You'll see the yellow blaze for the horse trail, the orange blaze for the 4C trail, and actually we just passed the 2 mile marker. And here is a road that we'll come to, and we'll have to cross it over here to get back on the trail. It's just a service road. As you can see, we're on the Kaiser Hollow multi-use loop trail, portion of the 4C trail. And here we go back into the woods. All right, at about 2.25 miles, we hit this intersection to the left, Kaiser Hollow, and to the right is the Shangri-La Arch, which is really cool. Good, no horses. And Christy made a really good point. Walking through this portion of the horse trail for about the last 3/4 mile or so isn't as bad in the fall as it is in the summertime. Whew, summertime, it was a little ripe. Okay, we are about 100 yards into the trail, and apparently horses Can't read. No horses supposed to be on this trail according to the sign, but hey, who knows? No horses. The beauty of nature on a crisp fall morning. All right, and here we come to, I believe this is Shangri-La Arch. Go down these little boulders here. We're just over 3 miles into the hike. And yeah, Shangri-La Arch. Get over to the edge here. Look down. You go down these steps. And under the arch, a little tunnel through the woods, and then out on the other side to the left. And as you can see, here comes Christy making her way down the stairs of Shangri-La Arch. Now, if she falls, 2 things happen. Number 1, we go viral. And number 2, we go to the hospital. So, hope she doesn't fall. No, she makes it down fine. We make our way through the arch, which is basically a cave through the earth. A tunnel, I guess you could say, not necessarily a cave. And it's really cool. Really tricky on the feet, so you got to make sure that you watch your footing through here. Now, one thing to keep in mind if you're walking through Shangri-La Arch is the trail does not go straight. What you're seeing in front of you is basically a dry creek bed. The actual trail veers to the left right here, and you'll see as I pan to the left, the trail goes on around the corner of this ridge. And once you turn left coming out of Shangri-La Arch, you follow the orange blaze through the rock formations. Feet, it's really tight through here. This is one of the cool things about this hike. I mean, we're getting into areas where you're walking along rock edges, cliffs, little tiny caves all around, wide open views down the creek beds, dry creek beds. Footing is a little technical at times, and it's really one of my favorite hikes in the Northeast Kentucky area. And then shortly after Shangri-La Arch, you'll come to this section and you'll see the Four Seas Trail. Some people will actually go left to the lake access parking area, but you want to go right down the hill, and there'll be a little bit of a water crossing coming up here, if I recall correctly. But it's right by the lake. And some more slick rocks, be careful. A little rough and rugged. But passable. A little bit of rock hopping. It's really not that bad right now. It's been fairly dry in the area. We'll come here and back down to the trail. And a beautiful view of the lake here. But now, an uphill climb. What happens when you go down a hill? Well, there's another one needing you to go up. Remember, we were going to Linfoot Hike In, I think it was, and every time we hit a water crossing, we knew, okay, we're going to have to start uphill, because water is typically between 2 hills on a lot of these trails, so oh well. It's still part of the fun. Really, in my opinion, I mean, the Four Seas Trail is probably one of the actually most scenic trails, backwoods, backcountry trails that we have here in northeastern Kentucky, at least some of them that we've been on. Some you see just a lot of green tunnels, some interesting things from time to time, but around every corner, there's something different to see, it seems like, as you pass through this trail. And for instance, here's another one of those things that's pretty interesting to see. All the way up the rock cliffs. And if you're somebody who likes the green tunnel, well, about 3.5 miles in, you will get into some green tunnel trails, smooth, up and down rolling trails, a few roots, a few rocks, but pretty easy portion. Nice, lush, green trees all around. And another one of those interesting views come into play as we wind our way through the rocky portions of this trail, about 4 miles in, roughly. And here, roughly 4 miles in, is a shelter. And we'll stop and we have a little snack and rest for just a minute before we continue on the trail. Make sure nobody's staying up here. This shelter, I believe you have to have a permit to stay at, but and I don't think there's any spots for tents. So if you come up here, you will have to most likely stay in the shelter, but it's a really nice shelter. All right, we're leaving the shelter now, and got probably 3 or 4 more miles to go. So mid-morning and sun's coming through, started to heat up. So yeah, we shedded our jackets and had a nice little snack. So nice little hiker snack of Cliff Bars, peanut butter, jerky, you know, all the good healthy stuff. And then as you get about 4.1 miles, 4.2 miles in, you will come to one of the suspension bridges. That's easy for me to say. A suspension bridge. Say that 3 times. A little bouncy. I've been on things that are less sturdy. Okay. That's very pretty down there. And then back uphill. Imagine that. Cross water, head back uphill. And after a little over a quarter mile uphill, we reach more 4C trail. This is a actually, I think an ATV trail. And it goes all the way up there. So more heavy breathing for another quarter mile. Okay, we're at the 5 mile mark, and for quite a while we have been going down a steep or fairly consistently downhill path, wide path. Not supposed to be any bikes or horses or ATVs on this, but that's what it looks like, sort of like an ATV path. But pretty quiet, nobody else on the trail since we saw the few hikers about a mile back. And we're continuing on. Nice, peaceful, quiet, beautiful day out here. Obviously, a little trail maintenance is in order. Have to blaze around it. It looks like it's been down a while. Hopefully it's just due to COVID. Well, there hasn't been a whole lot of maintenance on this trail. We've done some of our own, moving some small branches, small trees that have fallen over the trail, but for the most part, it's fairly clear. And a lot of leaf cover on the trail right here. So yeah, lots of leaves, yeah. So following the path, you have to pay a lot of attention now. It can be easy to get off of trail. Should we follow those orange blazes? Should be fine, but yeah. And at 5.5 miles in, we come to the primitive campsite. See right underneath the little tiny rock house cave. And it's the Johnson Home Place Campsite. Overnight camping by permit only for campers. Welcome Center. Another 3 miles. It's 4.5 back. It's actually 5.5 back to the Welcome Center. Very nice little campsite. Not a lot of level places over here. Would probably be the best place to put a tent. It's about the most level. Might be able to put one back there, but it's still sloping. Not a ton of flat ground. Well, it's warmed up quite a bit now. It's going to be upper 50s, pushing 60 degrees now. It's close to 11 o'clock. We've been out here for about 3 hours. We did stop for about 20 minutes to have a snack at the shelter. Now, a steep, slick, leaf-covered descent over rocks down to a creek and the lake.
Sketchy because you can't see the rock.
Yeah, it is. A little bit sketchy and a little steep off the side, but look at the view. And here we go, we were just up there. And now we cross over all of these little slabs of rock. Right by this little pond. And a small little cascading waterfall comes down from the lake. Then we will go up this trail. Here on the other side of the tree, there's a little trail that goes up and over the dam. Yep. If you were paying close attention, you just heard Christy say, looks like a good selfie spot. So, like she wants, time for a selfie. And there's some fish, actually. Fish in the actual creek. You can see them, yep, see them. We decided to step out onto a little portion of the waterfall and try to get a better video. And once we got there, curiosity kicked in and we decided, well, you know, just like in the movie Forrest Gump, once he got to the point, well, might as well keep going. So we did. We kept going up the waterfall. Water wasn't flowing very strong. I mean, it was wet in portions, just watch your footing, and we made it all the way up to the top. So we sort of made our own blaze and skipped a small portion of the trail. Nah, it was interesting. Well, we made it, and we walked up the cascading falls. Probably not the most legal way. And
bad idea.
hey, Christy took a foot bath. About right here at the mouth, and here's the lake, and we're going to go up and walk along the flood wall to the dam area, or the spillway, and continue the hike. See ya. And there is the actual trail. It probably would have been less slick and obviously less wet. Come up here to this view. As you see, the colors are starting to change here. In about 2 weeks, this is going to be absolutely beautiful. But hopefully in 2 weeks, we will be bringing you video from the Smoky Mountains. After walking across the levee next to the lake, you come to a spillway, which is actually another cascading style waterfall for a watershed off of the lake. And then you will see the suspension bridge. Now, if you go to the right at the entrance of the suspension bridge down the path, it'll take you to a little swimming hole pond area at the bottom of the spillway. But we are crossing over the bridge and continuing on the Four Seas Trail. And then once you cross the bridge, you don't go straight, you go left, up hill, and you will go along. You can see it, the cliff lines all along through there. So another hard uphill climb. And here are those rock ledges right on the ridge. A couple months ago we were here, and there were like 150, 200 baby frogs making their way up from the forest across the path. Don't see that now. See a lot of little tiny caves. And a nice view of the lake through the trees. And here we come upon some stairs that will take us on up to continue along the trail. Here we're coming to an intersection of two trails, the Four Seas Trail, which we are on, and the Three Bridges Trail. Now, the Three Bridges Trail continues to the left and to the right. We will be going to the right where the two trails sort of intersect, and for the rest of the trip, we will be on both the Four Seas and the Three Bridges Trail at Carter Cave State Park. I'm moving into a dense evergreen forest. I love hiking on this type of terrain. It's all the evergreen needles and everything really soften the trail. I mean, yeah, there's some roots, but paths like this, it just feels soft underneath your feet. Views along this ridge. This is a portion of the Three Bridges Trail. The Four Seas and the Three Bridges sort of meet together for a mile or two, a couple miles, and this is one of the either the first portion or the back portion, I guess you could say, of those trails. Yeah, very pretty rock formations. Yeah, this portion of the trail is fairly well traveled. As we've been seeing lately, we saw maybe 2 sets of hikers early on in the hike. Now as we're pushing
7.5 miles, there are a lot more hikers coming towards us.
And here are one of those natural bridges that we talked about along the Three Bridges Trail and the end of the Four Seas Trail, and it is Fern Bridge. Here we go, showing you some of the area in the Fern Bridge area, just underneath the natural bridge. You see a lot of rocks, some moisture and water dripping from above. That's not rain, it's a very clear day. It's just the ground moisture that's dripping from the openings above on Fern Bridge. Now, this portion of the trail is not a lung buster by any means, but it is difficult. You have to make your way over a bunch of rocks, squeeze between boulders. It's a lot of fun, and it's a challenging little climb.
And this is just past Fern Bridge. And the first time we did it, it sort of reminded me of the stairs that go through Arch Rock on our way up to Mount LeConte via the Alum Cave Trail. And just a word, after you come up those steps, you'll see a sign. It looks like the trail continues on that way. That takes you to some houses. Once you get the steps, you look to the right and you'll see the blazes right next to a panting Christie. Although she won't be here probably when you're out here. And over there are some rappelling areas. And once you hit those rappelling areas, you're roughly half a mile, 3/4 of a mile or so back to the Welcome Center. And you can see the actual stairs that the rappellers take to get back up and then jump off a rock again. Here we are on the home stretch. And here we are. We are done. Put a fork in us. We are at the end of the trail. Had to wait on a few other hikers who were a little slower before us, but no big deal. And the Saltpeter Cave is right there. And there's the Welcome Center.
And after we're done hiking, we're here at the Armory in Ironton, Ohio for some rehydration. We're going to rehydrate with some Space Dust IPA and Mackenzie's Pumpkin Jack cider. Delicious. Best way to rehydrate after a hike. One of the best things about burning 2,000 calories on the trail? The food. courtesy of the Armory Smokehouse in Ironton. Really good. This is the Carolina rub, or it was the Carolina sauce on the chicken wings. Fantastic. If you're ever in town, give it a try.
For those of you who are not familiar with the Four Seas Trail, it is a loop trail that features 2 natural arches, 2 waterfalls, 2 suspension bridges, views of Smoky Valley Lake, and countless interesting rock features and winding trails. The Carter Caves Cross-Country Trail, represented by the 4 Cs seen on this yellow placard attached to the tree, is one of the longer hiking trails that visits the park's backcountry. The trail also passes through a portion of Tigard State Forest, which is presumably named after Michael Tigard, the early Kentucky explorer. Now, this portion of Tigard State Forest was purchased in 1957 to provide a larger continuous forest to supplement Carter Cave State Park. It includes the Bat Cave State Nature Preserve as well. Now, the Bat Cave Nature Preserve is only open to foot traffic. No horses or bikes are allowed in this area. If you find yourself in southern Ohio, western West Virginia, or northeast Kentucky, then you're not far from Carter Cave State Park and the Four Seas Trail. It is a fantastic trail for the area. Yes, it is challenging at times. It can be strenuous in certain areas, but the views are phenomenal. You will see something practically around every corner, something new. It's an interesting hike, and it's one of my favorites in the area. So if you're ever in this area of the country, please do yourself a favor and check out this trail. No matter where you find yourself in the woods and what trail you're on, remember, it's about the journey and not about keeping pace with somebody else. Always hike your own hike.
Hey guys, thanks for watching. If you don't mind, give us that thumbs up. It helps people find us on YouTube. Also, if you have any comments or questions, please leave them in the comments section below, and we'll get back to you as soon as we can. And if you don't mind, hit the subscribe button. That way you don't miss our next adventure right here at Bushes on the Trail.